Hi, everybody. What's up? Welcome to episode 160 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We're back on this wonderful Sunday evening to talk to you about the goings-on in the world of Destiny 2, and holy crap, there's so many things to talk about. It's been a crazy busy week with E3, with everything we've learned about Forsaken, with the new narrative trailer. We're going to be talking about that. By the way, happy Father's Day, Cade.
Too soon?
Starting it off on a great note.
Wow. Happy Father's Day. Is it too soon?
It's great being on the podcast. Peace out, dude.
That's the end of the episode. We're out. Career's over.
Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Hi, Nojja. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Yo, we've got a very special guest this week. Mr. Nojja is going to be joining us for the episode. Who you is, what you do, where you at?
So I am the Tuesday guy. I wasn't last week because I had some big plays in IRL going on, but I'm usually the Tuesday guy. I play a lot of Crucible on the channel. 10 to 4 Pacific is my usual time slot. I always end it early because I'm trash at streaming, so.
Ends it early because he's trash at streaming.
It is what it is.
What is your schedule again?
10 to 4 Tuesday.
10 to 4. What's my schedule? What's my schedule, everybody? He says he's trash and he ends it early. He doesn't stream from 10 to 4. What's mine? Like 11 to 1 sometimes? Sometimes? If he's trash, what am I?
No, here's the thing. He answers the Elon Musk and Elon Musk alone.
That's true, yeah. Actually, good segue. I had to shave, so I'm looking pretty young today. I don't have my facial hair anymore.
No one would guess
out,
that
though,
your grandfather.
When I went to the interview, I didn't need to shave, so now I'm kind of upset about that.
You're just a baby face for no reason.
All young looking.
I was on my way looking like Dan, and then.
Well, we're sorry, Nojja, but like your beard has to be this tall to ride this podcast.
All right, yeah.
I mean,
good podcast. Peace out.
No, but right on, man. Yeah, you've been streaming on the PD channel. You're a big PvP guy, and we're happy to have you there, part of the new stream team for PD. Thanks so much for joining in, and thanks so much for being here tonight on tonight's show.
This is a bit impromptu, but it's good to be here. So I'm gonna do my best.
Happy Father's Day, by the way, you big old granddad, you baby-faced grandpa.
Oh yeah, I'll show a stream. There you go.
He's got a grandpa mug. He showed us before we went live tonight. So
should
like,
I just give no context? And
just
leave it
yes.
No context. Just a baby-faced grandpa.
No context.
Hashtag baby-faced grandpa.
That'll be like Planet Destiny like lore or like some mythology there.
It's deep lore that people gotta figure out now.
Right.
Why does he have a grandpa cup? You guys are never gonna know.
He's his own grandpa. That's why.
If you want to find out, just hit us up with that Twitch Prime.
That's it. That's how.
Please don't do that.
That's how you find the deepest lore. We put the lore behind loot boxes. You have to hit us with a
sub walls.
Not even a normal sub. Has to be a Twitch Prime sub. It's the only way you get the lore.
Babyface grandpa. There it is.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you, Light Razor.
Thanks,
always on point with it. But yo, we're back once again to talk some Destiny. We've got our usual roundtable of hosts. We've got Mr. Danfinity sitting over there on my screen.
Why, hello.
What up, man? I see.
Well. Can't complain.
Sub to that guy.
You're wearing appropriate clothing for this week's podcast.
Yeah, so I'm going to give a shout out here at the top of the thing. Dr. Jones from the Dachi Collective. He was like, hey, I'm glad you like my shirt. You want a couple more? And I was like, yeah, dude. And he sent me a couple more. So I'm going to be changing them out each week, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is this week's. Next week it'll be the black one. It's going to be pretty awesome. Pretty sweet.
You could not have gotten a more appropriate themed shirt for this, specifically for this week of the Planet Destiny podcast. This is going to drive the people who listen to the audio version of this podcast crazy. I'm not going to tell you what's on the shirt. You have to go and find the archive. And you'll be sad when you do. It's not worth it. Not worth it.
It's a picture of a chicken.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That is 100% not a lie. Yo, Nim Plays. What's up, man?
What's happening, bud?
Oh, how was your week in Destiny? We played a lot this week, you and I.
We played a lot this week, and some people got a little bit luckier than others.
I don't know what you're talking about. Moving on. My name is the Black Link. Hi, everybody. My name's Stevie L. I definitely didn't get the Icolo shotgun in like 3 runs of Escalation Protocol this week. I don't know where that rumor started. It's a lie. Fake news. You heard it here first. But we're back to talk a bit about some stuff going on. Missed an episode last week. We had a couple of people who were too busy to do the show, so we took a bit of a hiatus week, and we're back. Turns out this is actually a great week to come back because, of course, E3 took place this week, and there's 1,000,001 different things to talk about, so we're just going to go ahead and dive on in, starting with the TWAB, the weekly update from Bungie that we missed out on last week. Was there some big stuff in there that we needed to cover?
Yeah, a couple things.
Well,
Well,
want to hit us with the list?
I think one big thing out of that.
One major thing.
One
Well,
major
I mean,
thing.
Well, so you had the update to the roadmap, and you had the annual pass. So, Nim, you choose.
That was 2
Nim,
weeks
you
ago.
choose. Oh, that's 2 weeks ago? Oh,
Yeah,
this week.
Last week
Oh.
we had the announcement of Iron Banner coming back.
Yeah.
And Hamrick talked a little bit about the weapon slot system and how it's changing and how the ammo economy is going to be working with those things. And TBL, you want to take it away?
Sure. I mean, I wasn't looking at the TWAB, but I'll go from memory here. Basically, with Forsaken, yeah, what do you guys expect me to be professional? You expect me to have a fucking script up? No, come on, man. Miss me with that. But yeah, you're right. You know, Josh Hamrick, he came from the TWAB. He talked a bit about the incoming weapon changes. Of course, weapon slots are seeing a major change when Season 4 starts up, when Forsaken comes out. You're basically going to be able to utilize weapons in whatever way you want. You want to run with triple shotguns? You can. You want to run with triple sidearm? I'm assuming you can. And we got to hear a bit from how exactly the ammo economy is going to be working with that new system. Because I think even here on the podcast, when we first learned about it, or off the podcast, just in our internal conversations, the first thing we thought was, that's amazing. Like when he ran around with triple shotguns, that looks dope. This is going to destroy PvP and the ammo economy. How exactly is this going to work out? And so Josh Hamrick took to the TWAB to talk a bit about that. And here's what he had to say. Hey everybody, I wanted to stop by for a second and provide just a bit of information regarding the new weapon slot system. We know many of you want the D1 style system back. Many of you have also asked us to keep the D2 model. We want to deliver something you all want, but we also want to surprise and delight you while moving the game forward. Ultimately, we want to give you something better than anything you've seen yet. So, the top 2 slots of your weapon system will have more freedom than ever, allowing you to carry unique sets of primary and special weapons. When paired with the appropriate exotic, crazy loadouts like the 3-shotty build he mentioned in the Vidoc are possible and freaking awesome. Which, of course, leads to the question of ammo economy. How do you balance something like that? Well, uptime for your weapons is balanced by how often you can get your hands on the right ammo. Tuned to be very similar to D1, uptime works out as follows, from most to least. Primary, white ammo, then special ammo, and then finally heavy ammo. Primary ammo is useless when running 3 shotguns. Basically, shotguns are going to utilize special ammo and heavy ammo. Same thing for sniper rifles. So when you're running the triple shotty loadout, you're not going to be able to use any of your primary ammo. So those white bricks that you pick up aren't going to count. The only ammo that's going to count for shotguns are special ammo and heavy ammo. Can I just say, I see what you're doing there, Josh. I see what you're doing with this little TWAB here. He didn't say primary ammo, energy primary. He said primary, special, heavy. D1 strats, baby.
Yeah, a little bit of even the devs can't break away from the original names.
And it's an official print now.
It's
TWABs
beautiful.
are official from Bungie, so I am justified. I've been calling power weapons heavy weapons since D2 came out. I feel vindicated. I don't have to change them. Random person on YouTube comments who always says they're power weapons, not heavy weapons. Doesn't matter now. Official. It's official from Hamrick. You can't argue against that man. Come at me, man. What you gonna do about it? GG. Easy.
Get it right, nerd. Get it right.
But yeah, so basically, the way they're going to be balancing this weapon system is certain weapons are going to utilize the white primary ammo. It's going to be stuff like auto rifles, pulse rifles, sidearms, hand cannons, scout rifles. Certain things are going to utilize energy ammo, so stuff like shotguns. Like I'm assuming fusion rifles. I don't know if we saw any fusion rifles in the special slot, have we?
Merciless. Actually.
Merciless was in the special slot.
It was obviously not set in
Ooh.
stone, so like things could change, right? But there was definitely a part of the trailer or some reveal somewhere that they had Merciless in the energy slot for sure.
That makes me happy.
This excites Nem.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, please.
Who feels like when they were in development of, or conceptually talking about this updated weapon slots, like I feel like you had like one half of the group, it's like, yeah, no, we got to keep the D2 style, and you had another group like, no, we have to revert it back to D1 style. And I can just imagine just Hamrick walking in and he's just like, fuck it, we're opening it to everything.
Porque me los dos.
He throws like a binder on the table. He's like, we're throwing all the rules out, and then leaves the room.
I like that approach. I think that approach is great because we all speculated, and I'd certainly like to hear you guys' ideas for what you thought the weapon slot changes that they hinted at months ago were going to be before we found out. But we all speculated on what it could possibly be. Some of us thought, okay, well, they're going back to the D1 system. Some of us thought, well, they'll stick with the D2 system, but maybe they'll move like a few power weapons up to the special weapon slot. I don't think any of us thought that they would go, okay, screw it, use what you want where you want. And that kind of blew me away when we learned about it in the Vidoc that they put out before they had their reveal stream for Forsaken. Yep. So, starting with our guest, Nojja, how do you feel about the weapon slot changes and like the ammo economy and all that?
Unpopular opinion, I think. I am actually a huge proponent of the dual primary system. I have a huge background in Halo, so I got very comfortable and familiarized with, one, a much slower time to kill. Even today, like today's Halo is still a much slower time to kill. And then on top of that, you had two primaries that you would start with. Loosely, I'm just going to refer to them as primaries. I know you could get like a pistol and whatever, and then your trade-off that you had to do is you had to drop one of your primaries and you had to pick up a power weapon. Yep. So even in Destiny 1, I know they were called special weapons, and I know this is a hotly debated topic, so I don't want to rustle any jimmies here, but I have always considered special weapons, even in Destiny 1, to be power weapons because of the level of power they presented the player in Crucible and in PvE for that matter. So like I've always liked the idea of having a dual primary system, but I don't think it was executed on in this game the way that I would hope it would have been. So English, by the way, I don't even know if I said that right. That was all kinds of crazy. The short version is I like dual primaries, but I wish there was a faster time to kill on all legendary primaries across the board first. And then, like, if that didn't work, because I know a lot of people didn't like the dual primary because they were like, it slows down pace of gameplay and all that. Put the fast TTK on hand cannons, pulse rifles, even ARs for that matter, and scouts. And then if that doesn't work, then you move to this new model. But they're just skipping that altogether, and they're just like, hey, man, here you go, dude. Like, whatever you want to run. I mean, I think ultimately, though, looking at big picture, it's probably the best move that they can make, at least like preemptively. Like I think it might be the best move to make, because what it does is it lets people like me, I still want to run dual primaries, but then there's people that are like, but I really like Destiny 1 where I could have a hand cannon and a shotty or a pulse and a sniper, whatever you want to run. Like, that's your thing. Cool. You can do that. If you like D2's weapon system, cool, you can do that. And it gives a lot of flexibility, which plays into that like RPG side of things, which is kind of cool. Let's freedom of choice. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't remember. I'm trying to find if it was Gigs who said it, that like if you like start running straight off the bat with like nothing but shotguns or something, it's like you start off with like little to no ammo. So it's like you'd have to find, and I'm trying to find the tweet just to make sure that if it was him. But like, I mean, even if you start running straight off the bat with like some absurd type of like nothing but special or whatever, like you're gonna have to like fish for ammo.
I was gonna say the same thing, and I think I think they brought that up with the notion of rocket launchers and all that kind of stuff. that if you're running, say, the triple shotgun loadout in PvP, which is lunacy, but you're not going to be getting that shotgun ammo off of every kill. You know, you're not going to be getting a full shotgun clip from every kill that you get, because you're going to be getting white ammo that's not going to refill your shotguns. You're going to have to still rely on special ammo. And I don't know if they're going to be bringing back the notion of like a special ammo crate or stuff like that within PvP, but
I got a hot take on that.
ooh. Bring it in. Bring it.
Got some inside
Bring it.
details. So
Bring it.
I was with True Vanguard the other day. I was playing some quick play in the morning with him, and I had a couple questions for him. I was like, "Hey, man, how's the new ammo economy gonna work? Like, what's going on with that? Like, how are we gonna acquire? Let's say you run hand cannon sniper and whatever else. Like, how do I get my sniper ammo? Do I just have it all the time? Is it constant uptime, or do I need to pick it up like I did in D1 at the end of year 3? And he was like, in that build, so I want to make this very clear, that build that they played specifically, which was a while ago, so things, again, may have changed. That build, there was green ammo crates. And then when you would get a kill, people would drop green and white ammo.
Okay.
But, again, just so everybody understands very clearly, that was in a previous build or potentially previous build, so it may be different now. This is ammo economy and time to kill are both things that John Wisniewski very recently has said they are still tuning. It's the last big ticket item on the list, so these things could be different. But that's some hot takes right there.
That works.
Heck yeah.
That answers my question about how exactly this was going to work. So I'd imagine that the special ammo drops that you get from kills on enemies is probably not going to be a significant amount of ammo. And, you know, this is a test build. Everything we talk about tonight is going to be subject to change, of course. We're talking about things based on what we've seen thus far, which is off of the E3 test build. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But I think that's fine. That's about the way Destiny 1 worked with special ammo crates and whatnot after the firestorm of ammo economy issues we had back in T1. But yeah, I don't think that'd be a bad place to start off with this, because they've certainly got a mountain ahead of them trying to balance this new weapon system. It's insane. I'm
not envious of multiple teams.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's one hell of a job.
I'm happy to be getting the benefits of it. Like, I love the freedom of loadout there, but
yeah.
Good, enjoy, Wisniewski. Have fun with that one, man. Well, right on. What else do you guys think about the weapon system? Anything in particular you'd like to spouse about it? I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's neat that we can just run with whatever we want.
Yeah, I mean, the PvE game should be really fun, because, you know, ammo's always at plenty in there, except for maybe heavy.
Is it?
You know. Well, heavy a little bit less than normal, but, like, you know, with that hidden juggler perk that they have going on in there. But I don't know, man. I'm excited to get my hands on it, because, again, I was a pretty big fusion rifle user in Destiny 1, and it's something that I severely miss in D2. So hopefully it doesn't break the crucible as bad as it seems like it will.
You know,
oh boy,
that's actually something to bring up here. We got a couple of PvP guys here that can shed some light towards this. With the change to the weapon system coming in, you know, people are going to have more access to shotguns. Right now in Destiny, a lot of games have a very heavy tendency, especially in Rumble, to snowball once one person gets power ammo. Once one person gets that Acreus loaded up, they tend to steamroll for quite some time. And, you know, it's gotten even lullsier with stuff like the tractor cannon and the ludicrous amount of ammo you can have with that thing. So with the weapon slot changes that are coming, and of course, you know, the change to being able to have stuff like fusion rifles and whatnot, getting access to those weapons more often in PvP, that's certainly going to lend to an environment with more one-shot kills. And I would say primaries are probably going to have to become significantly stronger to keep up with that.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They have
to. I can't imagine.
We're going to get D1 all over again.
Yeah, it's going to be
it's
Wormwood.
Gonna be year one. It's going to be year one all over again, just with the, you know, shoddy's people blinking around, you know, the good old days of the Fell Winter's Lie and the
oh dear God,
shop package and rangefinder days. Anybody?
Dude, that was great.
I'm getting flashbacks.
I don't think the shotguns and snipers, and even kind of fusion rifles. But if you think back all the way into year 1 Destiny 1, those, I'm gonna call them power weapons. Don't get mad at me. Those power weapons during that period of the game, along with primaries, were so incredibly strong. Like they were snappy as hell. The shotguns mapped people, like absolutely ridiculously mapped people.
They did.
And fusion rifles were, I mean, I ran into Real Crafty in D1 year 1 before I even knew who he was. I didn't know what Twitch was in year 1 Destiny 1. Yeah. And I used to run into him in QP, and I would get farmed by what was it, Light of the Abyss? It was some fusion rifle.
Fast rate of the fast charge one. Yep.
Destroyed me like constantly with that thing, and I was pissed. I was so mad. It was before I was known as Nojja the Tiltless, which isn't so true anymore. But there was a period of time when I was like tiltless. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because if you think about the scope of primaries right now, they can't really compete with power weapons. And I think it's pretty simple. Everybody kind of knows. Like, let's take hand cannons, for instance. I'm a big hand cannon user. I love Dire Promise. It's my favorite gun in the game right now.
Oh, man!
It is absolutely just a blast. I play on console exclusively, so I'm not a PC guy. I can't really speak for that meta over there. But it's a 4-tap, and the difference between a 3-tap and a 4-tap on a hand cannon that shoots that fast is incredible. Like, you're getting pushed by a dude with a shotgun. Having a 4-tap hand cannon versus a 3-tap is literally the difference between winning or losing a round sometimes. And that's brutal to have happen. So I think they really, really need to nail primaries in this coming update.
They really do.
Yeah.
You're going to see a very, very dominant double power weapon meta, which is going to be kind of frustrating. Maybe not for the people that miss that aspect of D1, but for the people that kind of want like a healthy balance of like hand cannon or pulse rifle or auto rifle even, because you kind of have to advocate for everybody. You can't just be like, well, I like shotgunning, so I'm just going to throw on a shotgun. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have a blast. Like, it's going to be super fun for me. I'm a sniper, by the way. I'm not a shotgun, so you can whatever. But
he's just like making sure my hands are clean out of this subject real quick.
in most of the most frustrating metas in D1, even through shoddy reigning supreme. I want to snipe again, but I also really like hand cannons, and I think SMGs are actually a super cool addition in the game too.
Yeah,
Huckleberry, looking at you specifically, that's a super cool gun. So having primaries still have the capability of shining, even in a meta. Oh, that's a puppy. Even in a meta where like 2/3 of your inventory, or even all 3 of your slots for that matter, can be a power weapon, is going to be really, really important for them to nail.
For sure.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The way they balance primary weapons right now is now kind of more important than ever. Because with the ability to completely ignore them entirely now with the coming weapon slot changes, a meta always develops around what kills the fastest and is the easiest to use. That balance between ease of use and performance. And with the changes coming, if everybody's going to get more access to fusion rifles, more access to shotguns, they're going to use those. Although I do believe, somebody might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like a shotgun like Legend of Acarius is still in the power weapon slot. I could swear I heard somebody say that.
For the sake of balance, I would hope so. Oh dear, please leave it there.
Yeah, Gigs actually did mention that. He said that, to my knowledge, rockets, grenade launchers, and super strong shotguns like Acarius are stuck in the heavy slot. I don't know if you can move weapons from the primary slot to specialist slot and vice versa. So he said that he's going to be looking into it more, but I haven't heard.
That doesn't matter.
Those
repeater shotguns just are awesome and a menace.
Yeah, they've got a lot of. They've got a surprising amount of range on the 100 RPM shotties. Surprising amount of range. Yeah. And I think primary balance is now more important than ever, because you have to have primaries that can contend with the shotguns within the right situation. And right now they kind of can't. Like, not at all. We'll see. We certainly will see. It's going to be very exciting and very interesting to see how this moves forward. Conjoined with the incoming, random perk changes, the mod slot changes, that kind of stuff. I cannot wait to learn more about what's coming with that.
Does it feel like with anybody else that they're just like, look, so the initial launch didn't work. Let's just throw everything. Let's just throw the entire kitchen sink at this and see what happens in September. Like, does it feel like that to anybody else?
Kind of.
That's important, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's
Give people some of that chaos back. Yeah.
it's definitely looking like chaos is the name of the game now.
Oh, yeah.
And anything is better than the stagnation that is threatening to happen with D2. So yeah, I'll take the crazy everything in the kitchen sink approach to switching up the environment of D2. I'll take that. I think it's going to be exciting moving forward, trying to figure out where things are going to lie within the PvE and PvP meta. Excited for it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
All right, what else do we have in the TWAB? I think it's just Dead Orbit. They won the faction rally. Surprise.
No, you're lying to me.
Boo.
Imagine my shock when the faction with the Graviton Lance catalyst tied to it won by a fairly significant margin.
Yeah, I was thinking that people had principles.
Wrong. And that is where you made your mistake.
I'm mad about it.
Completely wrong.
It's crazy. I don't know. I feel like I saw a whole lot more like attention towards Future Workhold than I did for Dead Orbit when it comes to like social media and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, I'm seeing a whole lot of love for Future Workhold. Like, there's no way. And then
Total way.
Exactly.
They got 47% of pledged players, 58% of total faction ranks earned going to the Dead Orbit. The allure of Hidden Hand on the Graviton Lance is strong.
You know what's funny about that, though? I value Dead Orbit's Fate shader and the Dire Promise hand cannon by miles over getting a slight bump to effectiveness in the Graviton Lance, which, by the way, its new damage fall-off range starts at 60 meters. Did some testing on that. 59 meters, you will do full damage with the Masterwork.
Yeah.
60, you'll start getting damage drop off. Not on the second shot, just the first one.
That's still pretty darn good. And yeah, as a fellow Dire Promise lover, I got you, man.
I didn't have one. And I was like, we went through that drought with no faction rallies. And I was like, this really sucks. I opened Cage Chest for like 8 weeks in a row, never got one. And then my sixth package from this most recent faction rally, I scored one. I was super happy about that.
Right on, man. Ugh. Great gun. I love it. It's probably my favorite Dead Orbit weapon. But, Graviton Lance.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite scout rifle for PvP right now. So, round of applause for the emo Edge Lords. You got your win.
Wow.
Future Workhold next. Sunshot, baby.
I hope, actually, yeah. That's what I'm planning to do next time.
Ugh.
That's Sunshot.
I'm so upset. Like, all the grease paint came out. It's all over the tower now. We all have to deal with it.
Whose idea was it to add brown to the Dead Orbit color scheme? Like,
it is total poo. It is total poo brown too.
Terrible. I'm not a fan.
And I almost feel like there's a definite bit of Dead Orbit collusion here with Bungie, because like the change to the New Monarchy shaders. Like, what's up with that new color scheme for New Monarchy where it's like orange and whatnot?
And red.
There's collusion here. There's somebody behind the scenes at Bungie sabotaging, straight saboing Future the New Monarchy to ensure that they don't win again.
They are also sabotaging Future Workhold. Did you see the shader this week?
I didn't pledge to them, so I haven't seen anything from them.
It's bad.
I'm real sad, guys. I'm real sad, you guys.
Yeah, it's something. It's like a mix of like new Future Workhold with like D1 Future Workhold.
D1 Future Workhold was terrible. Terrible mix match of primaries. Gross.
Yeah,
but whatever.
On the bright side, we have Iron Banner coming up this week again, beginning on June 19th.
A faction that has great shaders.
It's great shaders. The game is going to be Control once more. So if you guys haven't gotten all of those crispy ornaments, you have your chance coming up again real soon.
6v6.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe like it's going forward. Iron Banner was 6v6, and I wholly believe they were using that as a testing ground for bringing 6v6 into quick play, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Absolutely.
But where else? We're also getting another comic Continuing Anna Bray's story next Friday. And I think as far as this week's TWAB, that's about it. The week before, which we couldn't talk about, that's where we have a couple bit more tidbits of information to talk about regarding Forsaken. Which let me go ahead and
so where do you want to start with this one, Nim? Do we tiptoe around the elephant in the room or annual pass?
Yeah, let's get that out of the way. There's a whole lot else to talk about other than the annual pass.
Let's go ahead. So, annual pass. What is it? $30? $20? $30? $30 for the 3 not quite DLCs, but content releases that are going to be dropping post Forsaken release. I do believe it is Joker's Wild, Penumbra, and the Black Armory, scheduled for winter 2018, spring 2019, summer 2019. Caused a little bit of consternation within the community. Just looking at the price point of an extra $30 on top of the $40 purchase for Forsaken itself. Now, ever since it was originally announced, I think during the live stream, when they first announced it, was probably the worst part of that stream because they didn't really explain it too well. They just kind of said, hey, we've got this new premium content release thing with this annual pass for $30 coming out. And it's going to be covering some content releases that are going forward. That's going to have some content and new weapons and armor and stuff tied to it. And they kind of came out later on and clarified that the new content that they're adding in it is in-game stuff like raid layers. They said pinnacle game activities. That usually means in-game activities. New weapons, new armor, all kinds of stuff right there. And that softens the blow a little bit. The annual pass basically breaks down to $10 a pop for the DLC, which is certainly an easier pill to swallow when you look at it like that. For raid layers, I don't have a problem paying for raid layers. We basically already have done that with stuff like Curse of Osiris and Warmind. And we'll be getting... And Crota Zin. That was the first raid layer, wasn't it? The first soloable raid layer in Destiny history. Turns out D1 was a beta test. There you go. But how do you guys feel about the annual pass and all that kind of stuff? I think I've ranted enough on it between multiple videos.
Right. I'm gonna start this one off because probably I know a whole lot of people are gonna just pull out the shill. And you know what? I don't give a shit. I like it. They did mention that the story content, they're not going to be focusing on too much of like the cinematic story stuff. They are bringing some stuff over, and this DLC, it looks to be in the similar vein that we saw in the past with, like, for example, like the Taken Spring, where they introduced Malak. They had a couple story missions for him. They had the strike. Except with these bits of content, you're also getting additional raid layers, which, for example, with that, with Malak, we got like the revamped version of the Prison of Elders. And honestly, for $10, like if you look at this thing as a whole, like let's say, for example, you buy the base game $60, you spend hours into that game. If you like to Destiny, you're gonna spend more than like 100 hours playing that game. You get more than your money's worth in that amount of time. I've bought games for the same price that I've beaten in 3 hours with a complete campaign. And it's like, and this is covering content, like it's $30 for content that's going to come out all the way up to summer of next year. That you won't have to worry about it like anything else. It's like, a lot of people, it's like I think they're mixing the price together. They're looking at the $70 with Forsaken and the annual pass, and they're taking that and they're confusing it. It's like, no, Forsaken and everything that brings is $40. It's the extra 30 is for the content that's going to cover winter, spring, and summer. Like, that is not a lot of money. For the content and for the amount of time that you are going to put into that. Because if you're a Destiny player, you're gonna buy it and you're gonna play the living shit out of it.
And you're probably gonna buy it 3 times. And you're probably
no.
Maybe not.
No.
But no, so on Light Razor brings up a good point in chat. He said, like somebody did the math and it works out to less than $6 a month if it were like a subscription. So like, yeah, for me personally, it makes sense to for those smaller releases to be less than like Warmind and Curse of Osiris, even though Curse of Osiris probably could have been a little bit cheaper. But like, it's one of those things. If you're planning out for a full year, I mean, you pay $60 a year on console to make sure that you have access to play on the internet, which you also then pay for.
Yeah.
So like, really, your arguments, you have to kind of put that into consideration as well. And I see where people can get upset because they're like, oh, well, now there's another fee on top of it. But I see this as possibly the fairest of all worlds when it comes to what they could have done with Destiny.
Yeah, you know, I've seen a lot of the notion. It's calmed down a bit since the initial live stream of people saying, "Oh, this stuff should have been free." It was never going to be free. No, you're never going to be getting content from a game like this for free. And I believe you're right, Nim. A lot of people were looking at this as a compound cost on top of Forsaken. Like you're looking at this, the $40 purchase for Forsaken plus a $30 purchase for the annual pass, and feeling like they had to make that purchase all all at once. And when you look at it like that, yeah, I absolutely understand people saying, "Wow, $70 for the DLC for this game that was wholly underwhelming in its first year." In a large number of people's opinion, that's not worth the cost of admission for them. And it is important to stress that that $30 for the annual pass isn't connected to Forsaken. You can buy that whether you want it or not. And when you break it down for a cost for value wise, yeah, $10 for content release, that's fair for me. I can justify that purchase when I look at it. It doesn't change the fact that if you're buying it all at once, $70 is a steep price tag for a game in its second year that's had a first year that's been as tumultuous as Destiny 2. So I don't write off people's complaints when it comes to the price of the annual pass. But when you ask me, is it worth it? Yeah. The raid layer 100%. Content alone would make it worth it for me, because the raid layers I've thoroughly enjoyed. And previously, I paid $20 for Curse of Osiris and $20 for Warmind, whereas with these content releases, it's $10 a pop for them. And I'm a Destiny guy. I'm gonna buy it anyway. So I think
even if you're not like a super like Destiny guy and you want to buy Forsaken, you can get Forsaken for the $40.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for this.
Yeah, you can play the plethora of content that's seems to bring. And then down the line, it's like, hey, if you want to continue playing Destiny, then either A, you can get the annual pass for the $30, or you can get the DLCs for like 10 as they come and go. It's not something that you have to get like right now. You have to fork out this like the $70 for both. It's like, no, Forsaken is 40. Cool. If you want to plan down the line that you're going to be coming back to the game, there's the annual pass. If not, if you're unsure, don't get it, and then get the things separately as they come out. If it seems appealing to you, like, I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and of course,
you also get
good.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You also get the events for free.
Yeah.
Like, you're still going to be able to play.
Yeah.
You still are going to be able to play the events. It's just some of the drops you're not going to be able to get.
And that's actually the point that I was going to make. I was going to say you're still getting the seasonal events for free and all of the big quality of life changes that are scheduled to come to the game. Stuff like random rolls, like the change to weapon slots. All that kind of stuff isn't tied to any purchase at all. Everybody who owns Destiny 2 is going to get access to that. That's another bit of a narrative I saw from people saying, yeah, in the free updates and whatnot. A lot of people were worried like that those quality of life changes were A, tied behind the Forsaken purchase, or B, tied behind some of the purchases of these annual passes. No, that stuff's free. So the notion that you have to pay to fix Destiny 2, not at all. If you don't want to buy Forsaken, you're still going to get the random rolls. You're still going to get the change to the weapon system, the change to PvP, the new PvP maps. You no longer have to pay for those when it comes to Destiny 2. I'm very happy that they're moving forward with that, even with Forsaken. It's just the new content. If you want to experience the new content, you have to pay for that, and I can justify that to myself. I absolutely think Forsaken's going to be worth the $39.99 price tag, and yeah, the same thing for the annual pass for me.
What about you, Nojja? What do you think?
So as a consumer of any kind of product, the safest, and I don't want to say efficient, but I'll just leave it at safest thing you can possibly do is find somebody that reviews this stuff, whether it's a Twitch streamer, a YouTuber, whoever it may be. You could have a trusted website. People do write-ups on this. Doesn't matter what it is. Nobody's forcing you to buy anything immediately. Nobody's forcing you to pre-order stuff. That's why you find somebody in the community that you trust and value their opinion, and you go, hey, what do you think about this thing? If that aligns with your opinion, if you can resonate with that, if you think it's worth your time and money, then you go forward and you make that purchase. If what this person says to you, whoever this may be, could be a PvP guy, could be a PvE guy, doesn't matter who it is, they say, hey, Forsaken's like not super hot, in my opinion, here's why. And they can at least give you logical reasons as to why. You know, they're not just like pooping on it for the sake of just, you know, oh, it's terrible and I hate it and I don't know why, but I can't stand it and this game sucks and blah, blah, blah. Like, find somebody you like. And if their opinion's like good and you enjoy them and what they have to say, dude, then, you know, make your decision based on that. Because that way you don't spend any money up front.
Absolutely.
And you're chilling for a second and you're like, hey, is this good? Like, is this worth it? I know, like, in a game like this where it's kind of built on this foundation that you get these updates and then you can continue to play with your friends, it's a very social game. So, like, getting left behind sucks. But at the same time, you got to decide what you value more. Are you here for your friends and the social aspect of the game? Social aspect, English, by the way. Or are you here, you know, for just your own personal sake? Like, you're just here to play it for you. And if that's the case, then you can take that route and you don't have to feel any guilt or you don't have to feel left behind. You can just be like, is this thing cool? Do I like what I see? Does this person I trust like what they see?
Yeah.
If they do, and I kind of do, I'll try it out. That's my take.
So I have a question here. So everyone kind of bristled when I said you probably buy it like 3 times. So, like, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think the average like user of Destiny, like, how much do you think that they'll spend if they like on their hobby, like, overall?
On the Destiny hobby?
Yes. Do you think it's just one console or just PC, or do you think that, like, maybe they're double dipping on PC and console, or like, well, with most of us here, I think, well, I personally have like both consoles and the PC now, and I have purchased Destiny and the DLC up to this point on all 3, and so, like, I'm probably the exception to the rule. But like, where do you feel people would feel comfortable in that realm?
I mean, I think it really depends. I mean,
it's tough because, like, there's certain logistics that you don't have on that. Like, my personal example is that I play on PlayStation 4 exclusively. That's it. But I'm gonna have to double down on every Destiny content release because my wife also plays Destiny on PS4. For console of choice, it doesn't matter in this specific instance, but it's kind of the idea. Like, do you have family? Does everybody in your family participate in Destiny? Well, then you just dropped quite a bit of money, depending on how many people in your house that you are financially responsible for. So I think most people ideally kind of just want to buy it for themselves and once. I think on average, you would see like if I'm a single dude, you know, living on my own, and I work like a 9 to 5, and I'm not like super loaded on cash, but I have a little bit extra to throw around. I'm probably only going to buy it once, even if I could play it on something else, just because it's kind of dependent on where your friends are too. That's another aspect of this. Is like, I'm not, even if I had an Xbox right now and I had Destiny, I probably wouldn't buy the DLC for it again because none of my friends play on Xbox. So it's kind of, I'd go over there and I'd have to make new friends, and I don't want to make new friends because making new friends sucks. So, but yeah, I think it just depends on.
There's a lot of variables in that. Like, personally, I started playing on PS4. Like, that's where I started, and I've slowly migrated over to PC, which is where I'm going to get Forsaken and the annual pass. And I'm most likely not getting that on PS4, just because personally I prefer you're cute,
right?
but like 60 FPS is cuter.
He said you're cute, but 60 FPS is cuter.
Wow. But I prefer how the game plays over on PC land, and that's where I'm gonna be at. I mean, in the past, like I've gotten Destiny, then I got Taken King, and the collector's edition of Taken King. So like, don't get me, I've put in my fair share of that as well. Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to be like, well, who liked it first? I'm not trying to
no.
I
mean,
see hipster
like,
was.
I have double dipped in the past before, and like I bought it multiple times. So it's you know, I think it's time to stop that shit for me. So
a lot of money.
Well,
it is a lot of money.
Well, and so I started looking at it as like, so on consoles, I have both consoles, and I pay for not only the game, but like to have access to the internet for a year on top of that.
PlayStation
which is so dumb.
Yep.
So dumb.
Not a fan.
They sold us a dumb idea, and we bought it. PC is the cheapest way where you can play the game, and like, but that only works if you have a PC that plays it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So like, I agree. There's so many variables. It's just like trying to figure out where you sit in this discussion. I feel is very tough. So like, I'm one day I'm of one mind, another I'm of a completely different one, and I'm okay with the annual pass as far as that concerned, but like paying extra money like for 2 consoles and a PC is difficult.
It racks up really quickly. I mean, even if you're somebody who buys it on Xbox and PlayStation, that's $140 right there if you're getting the annual pass and Forsaken on both consoles. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. I mean, I specifically upgraded my graphics card on the computer solely for Destiny 2, and that was like literally buying a new console just to play D2, because I mean, like my PC is pretty good from the get-go, and I was lucky enough that I was gifted this computer by somebody in the Destiny community. It just needed the graphics card, which was like around $300, which was the 1060 6 gig. And you know, that runs Destiny 2, you know, at 1080 60, and that's what I needed, that's what I wanted. And yeah, I mean, I put in the extra 300 hundos to play it on here. So yeah, I hear you there. That's I think who said it in chat just now? Log Power Slave says, I'm with them. I'm also selling my soul for the frame rate. Small price to pay, but it's great.
I'll be right back. I gotta grab some food for my wife.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I think the vast majority of players probably own it for one platform. There's certainly a subset out there of people who play on multiple platforms. I know several people. I myself do. I own Destiny 2 for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. And I've bought all the DLC for PlayStation and for PC. I haven't bought any of it for Xbox, but we're not going to get into how many times I bought Destiny 1. I own like 7 or 8 copies of D1 for people that I bought it for, and like my brother and a couple of friends and all kinds of stuff like that. But I'm certainly in the minority when it comes to spending that much money. I spent entirely too much money on the Destiny franchise, but
and that's not accounting for silver.
$10 on silver.
At least in D1. At least in D1. I haven't touched the stuff in D2, but at least in D1, I know that like I put at least maybe like $60 in silver.
Yeesh.
And that's when like the Taken armor came out.
Oh yeah.
The chroma. Yeah.
All about that hive life.
Smell.
Yeah, well, you know, Taken. Yeah.
It's hive adjacent.
Yeah.
Tangentially connected to it, yeah. But all right, was Anything else we wanted to talk about when it comes to the annual pass? I think we pretty much made our
I think we
opinions on it
covered.
clear.
There's a lot to talk about with Forsaken alone right now too.
Yeah, should we go ahead and dive on into the incoming DLC?
Let's go.
Yes.
Oh boy, this week at E3, we got to see a lot of stuff. There's so many things to talk about, whether it's a new subclass trees, Gambit, the new game mode. We got to see plenty of that with gameplay footage from E3. The story stuff, with the old Cade 6. Not liking it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Why not?
I don't like it.
Why not?
That's my homie. I don't like it. I do. Only character with character on the roster. I don't like
Had
it.
to happen.
Yeah.
Had you say it had to happen?
It had to happen.
Had to happen. Okay.
A dude on Twitter, like he said, killing Cade is a franchise killer, and I was like, that's a bold statement.
Bold move, Cotton.
I don't know, man.
Franchise was kind of made before Cade became, the central character of the story.
Right.
seeing that trailer, I'm sad about it because I like Cade. I think Cade's great, and I'm sad about it. But at the same time, Destiny has such an amazing deep lore behind it, and a lot of it is pretty grim. And I hope that this is the start of the narrative team and the writing leads taking Destiny into that territory. And I mean, just by the setting alone, that this is a story of revenge and stuff like that. Like, I'm hoping that we start going into that because again, there's a lot of stuff back in there that that's really, really grim, and it gets lost. I mean, for example, if you take a look at Savathun's song, that strike is dark. But a lot of people seem to kind of miss that.
It's trying to be dark.
I mean, from a concept point, the Hive are literally just tearing out the void light of these guardians, and you can see their dead ghosts on this kite and stuff, and that's just sad. Seems like just the little lights just dead on there. But I'm really hoping that they take the franchise further into this darker tone for sure.
I do like the Western theme of revenge with this. I love the idea of this DLC being basically a space Western, with us going straight Tombstone on the Scorn and old Prince Uldren. I'm really interested in seeing how that plays out through the story with the 8 new barons of the Scorn and the stuff going on with the Prison of Elders. I'm really interested in that. I can definitely get behind the darker themes of revenge with this, and they were trying to get you to hate somebody. Mission accomplished, Bungie. that with flying colors.
That video set such a tone, and
it did,
especially that backing track, "Murder by Death." I was knocked out because I was like, "Holy shit, that's Murder by Death," and that's I was in Muncie, Indiana for years, and they would come up and play shows at a small little record store every once in a while, and that was bonkers. Xanafan 7-Eleven has the same story, but seeing them kind of get put on the stage and seeing how seeing that I see that little teaser trailer as a tone poem for what they're going for, and if the entire thing is that, holy shit, it's going to be a blast. I want more like you said, I want more Tombstone. I hope it doesn't go Wild Wild West. If we fight a giant spider at the end, I'm going to be very
a giant metal spider.
I think it has an important implication with future storytelling. This is the first time, notably, at least, just personally for me, I know I play a lot of PvP, but I've been very invested in the story and the lore side of stuff. I'm not an expert on quoting things. Nem could probably tell me everything I need to know about the Hive right now. But
let's go, Nem.
Maybe another time.
What do you want to know?
They smell real bad.
It's interesting because I watched Bife's video on his perspective on Cade dying. And I think for a lot of people, they go, why would you kill off the only character that we've ever cared about? He's funny. He's hilarious. He's witty. He's got great one-liners. He's been so important. Why is he dying? But then you kind of start to examine player psychology when you're investing your time into a thing, anything, could be in a game. How do you get a person to care about something? They tried this almost, for me at least, and I don't mean to throw any shade or hate, but like there's always been a bit of a detached emotional investment. Like I've played through all the content, I've done all the stuff, but the only reason I was doing the stuff, killing the new raid boss, beating the strike, doing the patrol, everything has been centered around this idea of loot. I need the thing that I can get that changes my gameplay. I care more about Black Hammer than I do the reason I'm killing Crota.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if you think about from the perspective of this new type of storytelling and them killing off an incredibly important and loved character, is that you now have players motivated by something other than the loot, which can very much still be a huge focus, and you can put cool guns and stuff behind these raid bosses, or whatever ends up being in the Forsaken main campaign. But ultimately what you've done is you've driven people emotionally to want to chase down this guy and shoot him right in his face because he took something from you that you care about so much. I mean, people are actually like upset about this. They're like, still, there's people that watched the trailer and they cried. They straight cried. I mean, that's an incredible, ingenious, albeit kind of sadistic thing that Bungie did. And I think they knew that, hey, you know what? People haven't really taken the story super duper seriously. You got your lore guys that really dig deep into that stuff. And like Nem says, he can appreciate that because he really focuses on that. And he's dug pretty deep into that. He's done the research. He's read it all. And he can tell you everything you probably need to know about the Hive. And a lot of that stuff is real creepy, real dark. But it's always from the general perspective of like an average player. It's kind of been detached, Yeah. And you can make the argument that, hey, we need the lore tabs in the games, or there needs to be different storytelling, or, we need cutscenes and whatever. But I think it's really important that they're doing this. However, and I see Albino Gamer 85 in chat mentioned this earlier, and he said it again, can you see this backfiring?
Oh yeah.
I think this has probably, for the people who are super invested into the story, I think this probably has the biggest potential to be the most positive thing we've ever seen, in a really weird way, because Cade dies, but the positive aspect of storytelling. But it also has the chance to be one of the worst things that's ever happened to the story, because if they don't follow through with this tone and with this sacrifice that one of their biggest characters and most loved characters had to make, they could really end up not making people super happy. And you can go on Reddit and whatever other social media platform that you want, you'll probably see a lot of hate coming from that. It kind of gives the opportunity for Ikora and Zavala to really have a bit of the spotlight in terms of their emotional / psychological response to their, he's been a part of the Hunter Vanguard for how long? And like, they all work together, they all spend time together. And from like a story perspective, what's that going to mean? And what are we going to see in terms of a reaction from Ikora and Zavala? Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
That's super
and maybe
important.
maybe that puts them in a spotlight where in a different way we can care about them more than we used to, because maybe they see their best friend die. And I don't know, there's an opportunity there for sure. Big opportunity.
Morning has a way. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you like nail that like right on the head, because it's like, again, Cade is like one of the most notable like figures in Destiny, and like Ikora and Zavala are nowhere near that much or that cared for, and by them getting rid of kind of like their staple and poster boy, they really need to flesh out these other characters and make us care for them as much as we did for Cade. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about the gravity of the story that they're telling within Destiny 2. How many of you can actually honestly say you had some connection to the story in Curse of Osiris? Did you feel for Osiris? Did you feel for Ikora in that? No. Did you feel for any of the characters that you interacted with in the OG Destiny 2 story? Did you feel for the speaker? No, you didn't really have any connection with it. Nojja's absolutely right in that majority of the time you're running through these story elements not for the story itself, but for the chase of loot, because you're not invested in the story. There's nothing to invest you in the story. And like he said, why would you kill off the most charismatic, the most beloved character, the one character you actually like in the story of D2? Because he's the most charismatic, because he's the most loved, because he's the one character you actually care about. It's the one character that you'll actually feel something for when something like this happens. And it immediately invests you in the story that they're telling with Forsaken by giving you an enemy saying, hey, this dude, Prince Uldren, you knew him as a dick back in Destiny 1. You killed a Gate Lord for him. He didn't think he could do it. You went, you styled on it, you brought it back, and he still tried to style on you later on. And he just killed the one guy, the one person in this entire universe you actually have a connection to.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Your best buddy.
Your best buddy. And that's not to say that none of the other characters within Destiny are likable or relatable. I love Lord Saladin. I love the connection we had with him in Rise of Iron and how he presented himself as a character. But Cayde is unequivocally the poster boy of Destiny, like the entire franchise. He is the one character that everybody, even non-Destiny players, will probably recognize because, like, oh, hey, that's the funny robot guy from Destiny. So yeah, killing him off, definitely a bold move. You are 100% right when you say it could absolutely backfire if they handle this incorrectly. But at the very least, it connects you to the story. It gives you a reason to pay attention during the narrative plot that they're laying within Forsaken, and it gives you a reason to want to go after Uldren. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that revenge.
Who do you see taking that mantle up?
Anna Bray.
Shiro.
Like the mantle of Face of Destiny or the mantle of just Hunter Vanguard?
Hunter Vanguard.
Both.
Anna Bray.
I'd say probably Shiro.
I'd say Shiro. Shiro comes from, he's Cayde's, Cayde mentored him. I feel like Anna still has like a lot to do with Clovis Bray and figure out a lot of her history, and that's what she's there for. And to make sure that Rasputin doesn't go haywire.
Yeah.
And I think Shiro could take over again, directly the Cayde student.
Yeah, it's a perfect time to reintroduce him. In my opinion.
And his dry humor.
Yeah. I see Radiant Duke in chat say Aphrodite, but Aphrodite has her own set of like guardians somewhere else in the universe.
Taken care of, yeah.
It'll
be interesting. But moving on from the narrative stuff there, why don't we talk about some of the gameplay things we've seen from Forsaken over the course of the week? And when we get into this, why don't we just start with the biggest one, Gambit. Gambit is looking real crispy, boys.
Never heard of that. Don't know what that is.
Never heard of PvE. What's that?
I unplugged my internet for the past 2 to 3ee weeks. Don't know what that is.
He was okay in X-Men, but what's he gonna do in Destiny 2?
Yeah,
depends on who plays him.
I'm super confused. How's this happening?
First playing cards.
Who has a contract with who?
I mean, if Thanos can be in Fortnite, I guess anybody can be anywhere.
Possible.
Good stuff, man. I mean, yeah. New PvEVP game mode. It's cool. You fight enemies, you beat stuff, kill primevals.
Yeah,
it looks dope.
I'm excited.
I'm looking beyond. What could this mean for well beyond this?
Really?
Already. This is setting the foundation for something pretty incredible moving forward.
I can agree with that.
Because there's a lot of people that do not really care for PvP.
Yep.
But they are real nasty at PvE. Like they're good players and they know their stuff pretty well. On the other end, there's a lot of PvP players that are like, I don't know what a dreg is. What the hell is that? And that's a very real thing that happens. There's people that have never done raids because they just don't care. They're just here for the PvP.
Yep.
This takes those two flavors and it goes, all right, we got this for you guys over here on the PvP side, and we got this for you guys over here on the PvE side. And whether you know it or not, it's teaching you mechanics from both ends of that spectrum. So what I think is super cool is that I'm looking at it as maybe a little bit of a smaller version, 4v4. The enemy count is not super crazy. The map size is probably not going to be gigantic. But what about the future when they release I mean, maybe this doesn't come till D3, but how about like bigger spaces where you have crazy longer matches optionally if you want to, and you can scale up the difficulty of this stuff. You can have more people, because what if they build the foundation for these game modes scales up from 4v4 to 6v6 or beyond? Like, this kind of sets the tone again, which I'm kind of going back to that with this. It seems like there's a lot of things that are happening in Forsaken that mechanically and narratively are like setting a tone and a foundation for things to come. And I think that's potentially going to be like one of the coolest game modes we probably ever get our hands on. And I really cannot wait to see like future iterations of it, see what it becomes.
Absolutely.
I just hope that the first day that I go into Gambit, I don't get matched up with gigs again. Because
you will.
Hey, I'll
that
gladly
was
play him.
because I would just cry in a corner. When D2 was in beta form, literally the first group of the PD stream that I was holding was Gigs and his squad of tier 1.
Oh yeah.
And it was rough. I was not able to sit down for the rest of the stream, let me tell you that.
Too puckered?
A little bit.
Yeah, you know, I think you're absolutely right when you say that they take Gambit and it's going to be a building block for something moving forward, because there's a lot of hype behind this game mode. They spoke about how this is something completely new to Destiny, and it certainly looks like it. You know, for those who don't know, it is a 4v4 game mode that is a mixture of PvE and PvP. You move in a squad of 4, you're fighting enemies. As you're fighting enemies, they drop these crests. You pick those crests up, you deposit them in a bank, and doing so will spawn enemies on the other team's side that will block them from putting their crests into their bank. And it moves forward like that. After you deposited enough crests, it spawns a boss called a Primeval, and whoever defeats their side's Primeval first wins. But there's a twist. You can send one person from your team to the opposing team side to go and attempt to interfere with them gathering their quests and kill them. So it kind of becomes a bit of a one versus all PvP game mode. You can sneak up on people, drop a super on them, maybe drop some power ammo or rocket or two on them. And it looks really, really good. We've got to see tons of gameplay footage from E3 and from some of the people who got to go to the Destiny Community Summit a month or so ago. And I have to say, this game mode looks like it's going to be an absolute ton of fun. I'm really impressed with the way it looks, the way it plays, its flow. We've heard a lot of great things from content creators who have gotten a chance to play it, both at E3 and at the Community Summit. And we're going to be getting our hands on it at Guardian Con this year. Super psyched about that. Cannot wait to try it out. What do you guys think?
I'm stoked. I'm already thinking of people that I can call up onto my fire team for the PvP side of that. And that list is it's pretty short. But I'm really excited because like I like PvP. I'm not good at it, but I have friends that are. And I can't wait to see them floss on some dudes. That'll be pretty great.
There's going to be montages coming from this. I can see it. The 1v all is going to be strong. Yeah, you know, I think it just looks like it's going to be a very fun dynamic game mode that can be expanded on later. Like, they can absolutely expand on this concept later, whether it's by adding in more players, more enemies, or shoot, even if they want to take it and add in a third team, have it 3 teams.
Oh my god,
that'd be freaking cool.
Yeah.
Faction war?
Finally,
war?
Can we get it, please?
Faction war?
Please, Bungie.
I want it.
Can we get Faction
I
War?
want this as Faction War.
Imagine that, yeah.
I dig
That
it.
would be a fantastic mode for them
pretty
to
fun, yeah.
factions into.
You're freaking good.
It looks great. I mean, you know, PvE and like PvP stuff is something that I've been wanting for like a long time. I've always like, and I talked about this shows ago that I would like, for example, like take it like D1 for example. Rusted Lands, you know how you see like the Hive tomb ship come in from time to time, or in Thieves Den you get the Fallen Catch. Like I would have loved to see like some kind of like objective mode where like mid-match through like one of those ships comes in and it drops like an Ultra or a Major in there, and then
or Crota.
Yeah, or like
something like that.
And then, like,
It just
either
wipes
have
you.
to, like work together or like screw each other over or something like that. And this is just like a blend of that, and I'm super excited. And based on that trailer, that they released, it seems like the new Taken Thorn
The hand
is
cannon.
going to be the the exotic that you get from Gambit somehow. We don't know how, but that is where I'm gonna be. That's what I want. I want it. I need it. That's where you're gonna find me.
Right.
It's gonna be our
Whole lot of
first
Gambit.
precision exotic hand cannon.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a 180, which has me
Think-
really sad. Not gonna
I'm-
lie to you.
Thorn was of kind of like what, like an annual skate type of thing.
It was the faster rate of fire of hand.
150. Yeah, the 150s.
Yeah.
This one, I believe, I think, based on its sound that I heard from the
Mhm.
trailer, it was fired. It sounded like it shot way faster than a 150 even. So I think, and there isn't a, I mean, we have Sunshot, which is a 150.
Yeah. I mean,
Do we have a 140? Do we
I
have
think-
a 140 exotic hand cannon?
I don't think we have a 140. Unless is
So,
Sturm 140?
No, that one's 110. It's a 110.
No, we probably don't then.
So
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna stray too far off from Thorn's archetype, considering it's what it seems to be, like a Shadows of Yore type of weapon, because it's not Thorn, but it's Thorn. Like
Taken Thorn.
it's a Taken Thorn. Like I posted a GIF link in chat where you can see it shoot like thorns
Hail.
into like a cabal, but instead of DOT, they explode when they hit. So, I mean, I'm hoping it's the same archetype as Thorn, but we'll see.
Certainly interesting. Can't wait to see more of that moving forward. But I think the big thing there is that it is an exotic that's seemingly tied to Gambit. And we know that there's going to be weapons and armor, kind of like an escalation protocol right now is, where you can only get it from the Gambit game mode. Very happy to see that they're moving forward with that sort of notion from Warmind, with like escalation protocol and the fantastic weapons you can get from that game mode.
Yeah, TBL, tell us about that.
Yeah, the boss this week drops his shotgun. No biggie.
Does
It's
he?
pretty good. It's
Does he?
Like
It's
after how
pretty
many times
good.
though?
What was it like?
Depends. It was like the third one for me. we had 3 drops in a row.
3 drops.
3. Everybody
like one for the random blueberry,
Yep.
one for Mr. Aries, and then
and one for me.
one for TBL.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that was
Bungie.
neat. That
My
was neat.
very
got like
first
7
Wave 7 clear, I got the SMG to drop, and then I haven't had anything since.
Yeah, I'm in
Oh,
that same boat.
SMG
Nojja.
is so good.
I like the SMG. I like
They're
it a
all
lot,
good.
but
Yeah.
I like collecting guns, and I'm not gonna get to do that, I guess. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the weapons in Gambit are gonna be like the same amount of efficacy that the escalation protocol stuff has, because some of those weapons in escalation protocol are incredible. Not even some, all of them. The submachine gun's great. The sniper rifle is great. The shotgun is great. I love that it's gear that's worth chasing for, even if you chase it forever and don't get anything. Sorry, Nem. What can I say?
I got like 50 of those freaking shaders, man.
I love those shaders.
It's
That's
neat.
a good comp. It's a
It's
good
neat.
constellation. I mean, it's not. You can't use it to shoot bad guys, but I mean,
Doesn't
you can
shoot
look
bad
good.
guys. No.
Yeah, it looks real neat. It does, but I
Yeah.
think I mean,
I mean, it's just as good as the shotgun. Like, let's be honest, it's just
Let's-
as good as the shotgun.
Glamour's the end game.
sure, yeah.
You can totally
Yeah,
nuke
no,
Callus
something.
in a couple of seconds with
Just-
that shader.
Get one of those shaders and just like phantom zone him like Superman.
Just throw him like ninja stars.
It'll open up like a phantom zone portal and just
Suck
like,
him in. Turn him into a little card. He just floats away
Mm.
into space. I know. I'm old enough for that reference. Thank you, Nim, for the
Appreciate you,
daily
bud.
reminder of my age. But you guys have any other thoughts about Gambit?
No. Wait.
It looks
Before we
neat.
move on, what do you guys
Doesn't
think
mean-
of the bow?
Yeah,
Ooh,
man.
Hey there.
So we're getting 3 different types of bows in Forsaken. I believe one's a short range, one's a medium, and one's a long range. Are you guys excited about that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I like bows. I
Me
just like
too.
bows in general. I'm gonna leave it at
Yeah.
that.
Now, the notion of
like I said-
getting just the notion of getting a new weapon type I was not expecting for Forsaken, so that was a real surprise and a buddy of the show, Imtash. He made a great video talking a bit about how the bow functions and whatnot. He basically said it's like No Land Beyond, but a bit better than No Land started out as. Even though No Land wound up being incredible by the time Destiny 1 came to its conclusion. He said, yeah, bows are kind of like No Land Beyond in D2, and I'm super excited for that. I love the way bows seem to handle in D2. I'm always a fan of the way bows work in FPS games. I love bows, so super excited to try those things out.
I think
it looks so fun.
Mechanically too, I believe that if you have the bow drawn fully, so it's fully drawn all the way back, it's a hit scan, so it's like instantly there. The arrow.
Good.
But
oh my God.
if you don't draw it all the way, then you get that travel speed. So that's
interesting.
Like mechanically, on the technical side for the teams that have to program that, that's kind of impressive.
So
that's interesting.
It's like Skyburners.
Mm.
Because Skyburners from the hip.
Yeah.
Projectile, but then when you ADS, it's hit scan.
That's interesting. They probably use Skyburners as the template for building this. Thinking about that now. Yeah, I had no idea that that's how it works, but that's kind of cool. So you don't have to worry about the travel time or anything with it if you draw it all the way back, which I'm assuming is going to cause it to deal more damage too, or give it longer effective range or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Yeah, I know we're getting some sort of we're getting an exotic bow. I think they talked a bit about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got any information about like what it is or what its ability is. Have we?
So
I think
if you land all 3 precision hits, your next shot, I believe, chains lightning.
Oh, that's the one we saw in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's like Trinity something. What is it? Trinity's.
I don't remember the name of it. I saw some pretty Gigs. I think posted some gameplay. It was Datto. Datto put some footage. I don't even think it was his. I think it was Mr. Fruits, but he put some gameplay up on his channel of somebody using it, and it looks pretty cool. I'm interested to see like for either a masterwork system, because I don't want to get too far ahead here, but just specifically speaking for bows, if there's going to be perks on those that give you faster draw speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
That'd be interesting.
Maybe there's perks that you get to fire 2 arrows at the cost of 1, stuff like that. Like we've had guns, right? Like firearms with, perks like rangefinder, luck in the chamber it previously, right? And then now moving forward, you have like your tactical mags and your explosive rounds. I think I actually saw somewhere that there's going to be an explosive tip arrow. So this opens up, which is super duper cool.
Rambo
is the fact that like bows could bring an all new set of perks that could modify how those weapons specifically function.
Yeah.
We could see some crazy stuff. I mean, it's a fantasy sci-fi game, so like sky's the limit, space is the limit, I guess, in this regard.
It's magic.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to that because again, it's just like it's this foundational thing that lets them just go, all right, future releases or free updates, whatever. Let's just add more and more to this, and we can just have like a super cool weapon platform.
Yeah, just like I think a great comparison here is the Queenbreaker's bow back in Destiny 1, where we got that, and that kind of laid the groundwork for what became Linear Fusions. After we got Queenbreakers, we got Sleeper Simulant, and then they became their own entire weapon class within D2. Same thing with trace rifles. Cold Heart started out as an experiment. We liked it, so we wound up getting Prometheus Lens, and it looks like we're getting another one within Forsaken based on the Vidoc trailer we got. And I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. Bows could be just a new starting point for an entire world of new weapon options for Bungie there. I hadn't even thought about different bow types of like bows having explosive tips and stuff like that. That brings to mind, again, showing my age here, like the tech bow back in the Turok games way back in the day.
Yeah.
Which would shoot, charge, detonate.
First FPS I played.
Yeah, my man! Nojja.
Crazy. I still remember the master cheat. I don't want to derail us too much here, but
beware. Oblivion is at hand.
Is at hand.
My dog! You're my... All right. So, Dan, I'm sorry. The last time we had a podcast, I told you were my new favorite person. Sorry, friendship ended with Dan. Friendship started with Nojja because he understands my Turok references.
I get it. I'll leave you guys alone to do your stuff. Talk to you guys later.
Sorry, Dan.
But yeah,
dude, I would love to see bows with like dragonfly.
yeah, bows with dragonfly. Oh man, bows with like with almost kind of a triple tap sort of effects, and maybe it auto strings a bow for you after you've landed precisions or something.
Nojja was talking about like the perks and stuff like that, and that's actually something that I didn't think about until he just brought it up. Is the perks that these things are going to have are going to be interesting because completely different type of weapon in the game. Like, what kind of perks are they going to get crazy with?
Yeah. There's
That's exciting, dude.
The sky is literally the limit.
They take a spin on the Ikelos SMG perk. When you shoot somebody with an arrow, it like tags them with a debuff, and they take more damage from like kinetic weapons or something, or just like firearms. You know, like you have like a support roll that it does like super low damage, so the arrow itself like kind of tickles people.
Yeah.
But then you can debuff somebody. Like maybe they put it as an exotic bow.
Status
like,
effect.
I mean, you think about stuff like that. Like that's kind of one of those like high risk, high reward situations where you can run this bow that has pretty low damage, but it's perk, and making it exotic for this. This is all theoretical, by the way. I don't know if there's an actual bow in the.
Yeah.
Please, this is all theoretical, but we're just kind of like going off a little bit. I don't want to derail too much, but you take like a super fast firing bow, you have it be an exotic, and you have it do super low damage, like crit and body damage. But when you hit somebody with it, it gives them like a 9-second debuff or something that makes them more susceptible to firearms. And then you can kind of play that team role a little bit. But the trade-off there is, one, you're running a low damage weapon that could be like a hand cannon or an SMG. And two, that's an exotic slot that's taken up. So like that's kind of where my mind is going in terms of like, this new frontier we're getting into with this new weapon type. It's pretty cool.
And I'm hoping that they do like interesting perks and stuff like that, and not have like just a standard set of perks for like each archetype of bows as well.
Yeah, the notion of a utility weapon like that. I think right now that would be the tractor cannon. The tractor cannon is a huge utility weapon right now for shutting down enemy abilities. Yeah, and sending Titans flying across gaps on PvP maps, Nim, as we do every time we play together. But yeah, having a utility type weapon in bows, oh man, I didn't even think about having status effect bows and whatnot. That could be so cool.
Yeah,
but
they did it with tractor cannon. Imagine they have a solar, like you tag somebody with a solar arrow,
burn,
lights them on fire, and
oh my god, yes,
same thing the tractor cannon does. And then you
run that with Celestial. Holy butts!
Imagine, because that in a raid too, like that gives them viability in that environment as well. I'm just saying.
You're absolutely right, and I think it's funny. This is a perfect segue because speaking of utility, we also got to look at a new Warlock subtree, or attunement tree for Solar Warlocks that is all utility. It is a subtree that's based around healing yourself, healing allies, getting buffs to you and your teammates, and I think that's fantastic. I love that we have a dedicated healing class in Destiny now. So if you don't know, the new Warlock Solar attunement tree is basically going to be based around healing and buffing your allies. You have a healing grenade that you can charge up, like on the Attunement of Chaos for Warlocks, for Voidwalker Warlocks, where when you charge it up, you throw it at the ground, it drops a sphere of light that lasts for about, I think, 7 or 8 seconds that your teammates can walk into, and it grants them a healing buff that gives them an overshield as well. And when they get that healing buff, if you heal a teammate with it, you get a buff called, or I think it's called Hearthkeeper or something like that, that increases your recharge rate for all of your abilities. So for your grenade, for your melee, and your rift. And of course, this is all, still basically in beta. It could change by the time Forsaken comes out. But the buff you get, Hearthkeeper, it soups up your recharge rate by quite a bit. It cuts down on your cooldowns by quite a substantial amount. It lasts for about 4 to 5 seconds, but it'll recharge more than 50% of your ability gauge based on what we were seeing from gameplay footage at E3. I think that's incredible. And that doesn't even touch on the super Well of Radiance, where it's basically a new mega rift where you summon a sword, you slam it into the ground, it creates a gigantic rift that basically combines the effects of the Empowering Rift and the Healing Rift. It heals your allies, it grants them an overshield, kind of like Blessing of Light, and it gives you a 30% damage buff for weapon damage going out. That's incredible. Like,
Yeah, it's insane.
Warlock, baby. Master race. Right.
Just add that on top of those hot and spicy Lunafactions. And
Lunafactions, yeah. So what do you guys think of all
God.
that? Yeah! Every raid needs a Warlock. Hop in our backpack. We can carry you.
Are you running the third attunement? No, I need you to change over there right now. Oh wait, it's not unlocked.
Kick.
Sorry, we gotta boot you.
Boot. Not good enough.
That's gonna be the new Gallagher
Forever.
there. Don't have it. You're out of the raid group, man. Sorry.
gotta have that tree fully unlocked, baby. What do you guys think? I mean, I talked a bit about that on a video I put out today. I love this. I love that we have a new dedicated class for healing and buffing yourself and allies.
It's neat. I mean, you usually when you think of the class as a warlock and outside of Destiny, you know, a lot of the times in like different RPGs and stuff like that, you know, they're usually known for like healing and buffing and stuff like that. You know, when you think of like WoW and you know, so having that or finally having that in D2, I think it's great, and it's going to be super fun in raids.
I can't wait to see the new Callus strats for just burning him down with the quickness. Lunafactions plus Well of Radiance.
I don't think I'm ready. There's already like so much that I'm missing out on. Like I guess there's a video of like burning the SOS boss in like a second.
Oh, with the shotguns and whatnot.
Yeah. I haven't even done that yet. Now I keep adding more things to my list of I need to do this, and this.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff, man. Nojja, what do you think about it?
More options is better.
Yeah.
Fundamentally. That's really cool because like even looking now, I could be wrong about this, but this is kind of my take on Destiny 1. A lot of the times, like, I feel like it was really focused on the weapon.
Yep.
The weapon. Like, Gjallarhorn was a DPS monster, and then you had Black Hammer, and you had Fatebringer. And while your abilities were good, they were, and your super was good, because it was, like, Weapons of Light in a bubble, super good.
Yeah.
So I'm not ignoring that for anybody who, that was a support super, but I kind of like the fact that D2 seems to be, and they can do this with the weapons too, so it's not like there isn't stuff in the game that can have this happen, but your abilities kind of give you this insane like damage or healing potential that you can have, which is like super cool, because then it kind of makes you feel like things that you're doing outside of shooting matter a lot in these encounters, and that's cool to me. I like that. So I don't know, that's cool to me. I just, all good, more options, better.
I agree. Class utility is huge in Destiny 2, and it's a lot more. You're absolutely right. There was a huge focus on the weapons that you were using within Destiny 1. Like Dan made the joke, you know, back in D1 it was the Gjallarhorn thing. If you don't have Gjallarhorn, well, we need you to have a Gjallarhorn for this. You don't hear too much of that for weapons in D2. What you hear is, okay, we're setting up an escalation protocol group. We've got our Night Stalker Hunter with Orpheus rig. You're super important. We've got we've got our Lunafaction Boots Warlock over here. You're super important. Titan with a bubble. Just go stand in the corner. You're okay. But yeah, there's a huge focus on class builds in this, and I think it's only getting better as we get some of these new supers moving into the game that really fundamentally change the way you play as a warlock, as a hunter, as a titan. And I like that. The more options, the better. I'm right on board with you with that, man. All right. Anybody else got any opinions on the warlock?
No.
Do I have any opinions on the warlock?
Yeah. Give us the hot take.
I mean, like a couple weeks ago, I was shouting like my love for the transversive steps and how it turned you into a race car.
Yep.
Now Bungie just keeps giving me a reason to play more Warlock than Titan.
One on PC. What?
I'm not gonna create one on PC. No nim. Hunter all the way across all the platforms. That's my main. But I mean, I could flirt with warlocks every once in a while. Just,
I bet you can.
you know, I can. I'm pretty good at it.
I bet you can, Dan. I bet you can. Warlock main here, by the way.
Oh, man.
I think all three of you are, right?
Yeah.
I don't take
Yep.
transverses off for any. I will wipe in a raid before I take those off. I will be the failing piece of that chain that's holding that raid group together for the sake of keeping those on.
That is toxic, bro.
So that means nobody's ever gonna raid with me ever again because they're like, well, he won't put the Luna. I have him at 385. I just won't put him on. So sorry. Can't do
I
it.
was totally gonna ask you if you wanted to raid later, but you know.
Never
I
mind.
do want to rate. I do really want to rate actually, but now everybody hates
we
me.
can get
'cause I'm
that.
bad.
Invite rescinded.
We can get it hooked up. We'll just have you run Gauntlet, and that's it. That's fine.
No damage. Well, all right, there we go. I think that's we're coming up on the clock for this podcast. So why don't we move on and get a couple of questions from the chat before we get on out of here for this week's episode. I've got a question for our guest, as is the case whenever we have a guest here. So, Mr. Nojja, you're a big PvP guy, but how did you get started in gaming? What was your first gaming experience?
Oh, Nintendo 64. Like I said, Turok 2 actually was my very first. I should have specified that earlier. Yeah, Turok
Seeds
2
of Evil.
was the first FPS, and then my parents bought me an original Xbox when I was like 9 or 10, something like that. And a game that I got really sweaty at, and it was like the first game I took super serious with Xbox Live, was actually Need for Speed.
Yo.
And they had an online, and they had a leaderboard and everything, and I was like number in the world for a while, and I did not even know. And it could have been because there's only like 3 people playing the game, so being number 3, you know, to me was like, oh, that's sick, but I don't know. And then Halo, like I said earlier, way back at the beginning of this, was a really, really massive turning point. That was huge because that set the foundation for literally every other FPS experience that I've had ever since.
Yeah.
That's when I fell in love with FPS games. Fun fact, did not start with Halo 1 because I didn't get it. Because, I mean, I'm a kid. Like, I don't have my own money to go.
Yeah.
All right. Don't scream at me. All right. I started with Halo 2, and I absolutely love that game. I was super invested in the story, super invested in being completely terrified of the Flood. Anytime they would like pop on screen, I was not okay with that. That was a terrifying experience. And then I went back and played Halo 1 because I was like, all right, I need to do this. I got to make this happen because like this continuity, story reasons, like this needs to happen. And then got even more creeped out because the Flood in that game for some reason were a little bit more menacing. I don't know. It was weird in a weird way. I think it was like the build up when the Master Chief first like encountered it. It was kind of intense. And the environment you're in just feels like claustrophobic and gross. And then I moved on to Halo 3. That was really, I did a lot of like custom matches in Halo 2, but I didn't really like take PvP super seriously. But I played a lot with a couple of really good friends that I had. And then Halo 3 was when I was like, oh, there's a ranking system in this game. I can be better at video games other than just like PvE stuff. And I don't even really think I thought critically about it back then, but then ever since then. And then I stopped playing at Halo 4. I've played Call of Duties. I appreciate them for what they are, but my preference is certainly the more arena shooter style, kind of like slower sandbox a little bit. And then Destiny, big one. I mean, that came out and like that was insane. I followed that game from like way back. I remember seeing the concept art for the pyramid ships like years ago, and then when I saw it in D2, I like lost my mind about that because I was like, I was sitting when I first got to the end of the campaign. My wife was sitting right next to me. She didn't know what that was, but I knew that, and I just had like this mental breakdown. I was like, "Oh my god,
it's time!
It's here! It's time!
They did it!
This is a thing.
Oh my
This is
god, they
happening."
did it!
So that was a really cool moment. But Skyrim as well, Fallout, like I've had a big kind of variety base of games that I played, but I pretty much main D2 now for the most part.
Heck yeah, man.
Right on, man. I can definitely respect those origins coming in with Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. So you say you were... that leads me to a follow-up question. So you say you were spooked by the Flood in Halo. I can understand that. The Flood were spooky, and I got similar flashbacks when the Hive were first introduced in Destiny 1, where you're going through that mission in the Cosmodrome, and you have to go through that satellite building, and it's pitch dark, and the Hive just come out of nowhere. It's like, oh no, it's Gravemind all over again. But I've got a question for you. You were spooked by the Flood. How did you feel about the River of Souls in Turok 2 Seeds of Evil?
Ooh. Wow, the nostalgia right now.
Oh
Just got
man.
cranked up so high. That was creepy. It's like my child mind doesn't like fully comprehend that, but now looking back, like, because I revisited that game a few times over the span of like my teenager years, so like then I could understand like what that meant. And that's when it kind of like hit me that I had been playing through this game that had these really creepy, like, morbid concepts to it, and specifically the River of Souls was like, that's really weird. That's just it's kind of weird to think about, like, just literally a river of souls.
That's what that was.
It's kind of dark. It's a little strange, yeah.
Right on, man. Right on. I have fond memories of Turok 2, and that's the map that always sticks out in my mind, specifically because of how dark that stage is with some of the things that are going on there. And just good to know that I'm not alone when I say I get a little spooked by the River of Souls.
The Shredder and the double barrel shotgun.
Ooh.
Never forget.
Cerebral Bore. Chase him down.
I loved the Shredder. That was just
it was great.
Laser beams bouncing off the walls. It was crazy.
Great game. Like, they re-released that on Steam like a year or two ago, and I bought it. I got to play through it again. It's good stuff. But all right, chat, going through some questions here. David Barletta actually asked a really interesting one. He said, do you guys miss Destiny 1 at all? And I picked that one because I'm actually somebody who goes back and plays Destiny 1 fairly often. Like, once or twice every couple of weeks, I'll go back and play some PvP just to engage in the chaos that is D1. And I do, I do miss parts of D1. I very much like D2 and where D2's going. I think by the time when Forsaken comes out, D2's finally going to reach a level where it kind of matches and maybe surpasses where D1 left off, at least in terms of PvE with Age of Triumph and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very much looking forward to Forsaken, but yeah, I go back and I play D1 all the time. I love it. Plus Hawkmoon is there, and I need my Hawkmoon.
Yeah, I haven't gone back in a while, but I certainly miss Destiny 1. Power Fantasy in the game is ridiculously fun. And I think that's something that they should aim for Destiny 2. But you have your Hawkmoon. I got my Necrochasm over there.
That's right.
Oh man, the last time I played D1 was last week against Moonvold.
Oh, I saw that
Podclash. Oh my God, she mopped the floor with me. It was insane.
I can get her angry, and it's great.
Oh, please, someone do, because she was just giddily laughing the entire time.
No,
she was sniping the hell out of me.
She can clap.
When I've gone in there with her, I can get upset. And if I suddenly disappear from Planet Destiny after this statement, now you know why.
It's good knowing your name.
Yeah.
Oh man, I miss the raids a little bit. I miss the raids where like you have more than one boss and mechanics.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's coming back. So
Dreaming City, man.
Exactly.
It looks good.
We didn't even touch on that at all during this thing. But yeah, that looks insanely like I'm really optimistic about what that experience will be. And so, but I mean, probably before Warmind dropped, I ran through all 6 raids with the Bungie, like one after the other, and like that was a blast. But I don't really touch it other than that, other than just to be like, oh hey, let's go back and do the raids maybe.
Speaking of raids, we have a question from DJ, good friend of the stream. So has everyone done Spire of Stars, and what are your thoughts?
Yep.
No,
Also,
we just started.
I hated D1's PvP. Don't at me.
GG no read.
I think I got the answer to this, so I'll just do a real quick rundown. I absolutely despise one-hit kill stuff if it's not on a long cooldown, or if it can't like make sense to my brain. Like Luck in the Chamber is like literally my most hated thing from maybe besides stickies. So that's just my personal opinion. Love the PvE. Absolutely loved it. Super duper fun. Was really, really great. Have a lot of good like memories and experiences soloing Nightfall, soloing Crota. That stuff is fantastic. But I hated the PvP. Could not stand it.
Yeah.
Spire Stars, moving on before anybody screams at me in chat. Spire Stars is super cool. I think is it gets back to like an interesting boss mechanic fight that requires you people to know how to do things. I'm really, really big now, more so than before, on making sure that I put myself in stressful situations, which means a job that I don't know how to do in a raid. And this was the reason for that is because like I want to know everything and I want to be an expert on how to do stuff, so that if I need to teach somebody, I can do that effectively and accurately. So this was really, really cool and refreshing to step away from that PvP environment where like I kind of do that all the time anyways, and then get back into like a raid where I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I felt that motivation, that drive again to be like, I need to know how to do everything. So like the first time through, I got carried. The second time I played it, I was like, no, we're going to wipe a couple times. I need to learn how to do this. So that was a lot of fun, like going through that process again and working through that.
Dan?
I have not touched Spire of Stars at all. Period.
You want to raid?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. I just haven't. So between like, so I finally got my Hunter up to 385 on PlayStation. I then started working on my Xbox character, which is like in the 360s, and then on top of that, started Humble Bundle had a incredible like deal on the DLC this past week. I think it was like it was like $20 for both DLC.
Wow.
For the so like last month it was $12 for the PC version of D2, then $20 for the DLC. So I spent a total of like $32 on the entire PC side. And so I've been running my character through that, and them helped me with that.
Yeah.
But like between all of that, I have not been able like I wanted to do it when I had time and was of an accurate power level, and B, I just haven't had time.
I can understand that.
Yeah, man, it's been bonkers. So maybe this week, maybe next week. I'm not really missing it all that much because the raid gear, I mean, I don't know. We've had this conversation before about dad bod gear.
Repurposed.
So yeah,
not a big fan of the armor.
Yeah.
Well, Nim, you and our answers are virtually the same, because I do believe our first time running Spire of Stars was late last week. And
I'm not too crazy about it, to be completely honest.
That's a very mechanic-heavy fight. A very mechanic. I don't think we've had a mechanic-heavy boss like a boss fight that's mechanic-heavy since Oryx. Really,
Oryx, yeah.
It's even more so than Axis, and I like that. It makes it hard to carry people through, and we were trying to carry a couple of people through, and holy moly. Just getting it down to when people need to stand on back plates and front plates and call out ship signs and throw at the right ship, and ooh man, I like it. I like the structure of the fight. It's something that I think I would enjoy. I would enjoy running with my own structured raid group more than mostly randoms and trying to pull them through the experience, because man, there's a lot of mechanics in that there fight right there. It's cool though. It's super cool. We got to damage phase once. We were in there fighting the boss for like maybe a little over an hour, and we got to damage phase once, and I just want to say I took off a third of his health by myself. Everybody else killed each other with Wardcliff Coil. I took off a third of the boss's health. Disclaimer, that's it.
These are facts.
What were you using?
That's
The EP
Wardcliff.
shotgun?
Wardcliff. It's just
Wardcliff.
everybody ran to one rift, and I just dropped my own, and they Wardcliffed each other.
So guys,
It was glorious.
Let this be a public announcement. Remember to piss everywhere when you're doing damage.
Yeah, just full 360s when you're hip firing Wardcliff oil. That is the optimal strat to ensure that you hit everybody who's on your team. But also just don't stack 5 people on one rift. There's 2 sides. Just go to the other side.
I put down my rift, dude, and it was like
a magnet
moth to a light, dude. I was set, like I had my own space. I put my thing down and I went to shoot, and then I had somebody just out of left field like, oh no, I'm gonna go over here. Right in front of you.
It was great.
I don't like that raid. I'm just gonna straight up hot take. Nem does not like that raid.
Now, was that just because of the boss fight, or was it the the jumping puzzles and all this stuff?
It is too mechanic heavy.
Think so?
For my taste. Like that's one of the reasons why I wasn't a big fan of King's Fall, at least when it comes to the Oryx encounter. It is just way too like reliant on mechanics. If one person like fucks up, then you're screwed.
Yeah, that's definitely the case with Spire too. If one person does something wrong.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that. And it's just like, yeah, no, like this is just not an enjoyable time. Like if in Leviathan or if in Argos like somebody messes up, you have leeway to fix that. And here it's like if you don't pass the thing to like the proper person, then you gotta wait. But then if you wait too long, then the wipe mechanic starts and you can't do it.
It's a lot going on. And like I said, I like that. When I'm with a structured team, it feels so good to just have everybody get those mechanics right. Like on the few runs where we had everybody do exactly what they were supposed to do, when everybody listened to our callouts and did what they were supposed to do, it felt great. And I love that. And that's why I love King's Fall. But King's Fall back in D1 was the only raid that I refused to do like raid carries for people on stream. I used to that's what I used to do on stream for D1. I would do raid carries for people for all the raids except King's Fall because it was just so much of a headache trying to get everybody to know exactly what to do right when they needed to do it. And I think Spire of Stars might be number 2 for me. That might be raid number 2 where I don't do I don't do random stream carries for Spire of Stars because it's so mechanic heavy when you get to that fight and you miss one thing,
like, I don't
you
know,
lose damage phase.
Yeah, I at least like with King's with King's Fall, I think I enjoyed that one just a little bit more than Spire of Stars. Is just because like the obviously the setup was bigger. It was a larger scale, so you had the one runner doing the one thing, and then you have the people in the bottom taking care of ogres in the night. And Dan, I'm sorry, like I don't know if you're avoiding any types of spoilers, if you've seen anything of it, but there's just the mechanic that involves up to the point to leading to damage phases. I'm trying to be as like
you
vague as possible.
Dude, okay, look, it's been weeks since it came out, and I seriously have shown no interest in it up to this point.
Okay, so all right,
go ahead. Like I maybe I'll learn something from your experience.
Okay, so
doing it.
The end link, exactly the part that I'm talking about. There's a point in there where you got a hot potato this ball around, and again, if your team is just not on point and paying attention, it can screw it up for everybody. And that like after about like an hour and a half, approaching 2 hours in that one space, like it stops becoming fun. And it just becomes a drag. And don't get me wrong, like I went in King's Fall plenty of times, and I had a blast with like certain like fire teams again that we're very synchronized and we know what we're doing, but that had more to do in terms of you have your runner, you have your people at the bottom taking care of the ogres, and it felt cool because everybody's taking care of something. But in here, I don't know, it's just too stationary for my taste. Like you have back plates, you have front plates, and then you got to take care of that. I don't know, it's just not for me. Maybe the next one will.
And I think that's fair. That's perfectly fair. It is a very, very strict boss fight. Yeah, I'd say it's about as strict as Oryx was with the mechanics there. Although actually it might be a little bit more lenient because you could actually survive some fail states during the Oryx fight if you did certain things.
Oh,
With
yeah.
this, if you don't get to damage phase, if you mess up one part of Spire of Stars, you get clapped with the quickness. So I can understand your frustration there. I didn't dislike the raid layer, but it's definitely something I would do with my dedicated group rather than with with
Random people?
randoms.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, I've been running guided games recently. Okay, look. We've done this twice now in the past month where we've just loaded into a guided game and while I've been on stream and been like, look, I'm live, so don't say anything that would get you fired or slapped by your mother. And like normally they're okay with that. And it goes off without a hitch, usually within an hour. And I think now guided games is less people who have never done the raid and more people who are looking to do one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that are just using it to be like, well, I've got an hour. Maybe like this is quicker than going on LFG.
Yeah.
So like I think that's now where you're going to be for guided games, because that's been my experience with the past two. Now that could change, but it's been a good experience so far, and you get like a neat little like aura over your head. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you use a lot of guided games. I really hope they expand on the guided game system moving forward because I think it's a fantastic first step. I think we've gotten to the point where Bungie should really consider just normalized matchmaking for stuff like Nightfalls and for raids and whatnot. I can't really all the reasons for why that shouldn't be a thing that we used to have back in D1. I can't really see as being relevant anymore in Destiny 2. And at the end of the day, it's content that people want to run that they might not have a dedicated group of friends who all have Destiny 2 to run. And keeping them away from that content just because they can't matchmake within your game, I don't think is the best option. So hopefully we see some expansions for guided games moving, some more normalized matchmaking for some of that in-game content. I believe if players want to be able to play that content, they shouldn't have to go outside of the game to find people to risk the swamps of LFG to try to find a group that's cohesive enough to get it done. But all right, I think that's good enough stopping point for today's episode. What do you guys think? Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, for a second there, I thought you cut off because I heard
it did. It cut off.
Oh.
Okay, all right. Okay.
It made for the perfect awkward silence because I was like, is it anything else anybody want to talk about? Nobody.
I'll extend that silence by 5 more seconds in the edit. It'll be fine.
Have you guys seen the interviews that Craig Ferguson does?
I have not.
No.
So he usually ends his interviews. And it's like like one of those night shows or night interview shows. He usually ends his like segments with like an awkward pause, and it's great. It's just like a minute or two of like him and whoever he's in. It's like
dead air.
Yeah.
Podcast ending from here on out.
It's pretty great.
Perfect.
But anyways, yes, episode.
New tradition.
Call it.
Right on. Well, I think that's an awkward enough stopping point for episode 160 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Congratulations, you made it through another episode. Now, before we get out of here, we're going to let you know where you can find all of us across the internet and what we've got coming up over the course of the next week. But first things first, if you're here with us live in the Twitch chat, start rummaging through your favorite Twitch channels, go through those directories, see who you want us to raid at the end of this stream. For right now, we want to extend a very special thank you to our guest, Nojja. Thanks so much for joining up with us tonight, man.
Hell yeah, it was a pleasure.
Right on. It was an honor to have you here. It's an honor to find another Turok fan amongst the podcast hosts out there.
Few and far between.
Man, so. I kind of wish THQ and Acclaim didn't go out of business. I need new Turok games. I really do. Where are you at on the internet? Where can people find more of your work?
I am on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nojja_BenBlast. And on Twitter, twitter.com/Nojja_BenBlast. I don't reside anywhere else other than the Planet Destiny channel every Tuesday from 10 to 4 Pacific. And I usually do Crucible stuff, but I do not ever go to the full length of that time. So it's always like 30
I don't
minutes,
blame you,
45
dude.
short. So
What do you mean you don't go full time? What are you
I
like
can't- I
some
can't.
sort of like I'm not I don't even know what to say anymore.
Part
I get
timer.
hungry. You want to know what it is? I get hungry. That's it. That's literally what
Oh,
causes me to
dude.
be like, I gotta shut this off. I need food.
You mean?
That's
you-
why you need to be right back screen. Boop.
I
That's
don't have
what
one of those yet. So, told you I was a trash streamer at the beginning of this podcast, and it holds true to the end. So you're welcome for consistency. Love it.
But all right, Mr. Danfinity, where you at, man?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DanFinitwitch. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Danfinity. That's just about every day while I'm still unemployed. And then Thursday, you can find me here on Planet Destiny from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. I have a podcast called Side Quest Sunday that releases every Sunday. And this week, it featured Molly May as me, who streams here on the channel. And also our wonderful leader, Moonvold, as the guest co-host. So, yeah.
Right on. Good, everybody, go follow him. Go sub to him so that he can make the fantastic podcast he produces his full-time job. Let's get to that.
It's pretty fun. It's
Pretty
pretty
good at
fun.
it.
It doesn't have to be my full-time job. I'll do it anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yo, Mr. Nim, where you at?
Right here.
Just right there.
Right here,
Sometime-
nowhere else. I never leave.
Sometime right here. No, or at my personal Twitch, twitch.tv/nimplays. Whenever my retail job has me off, you'll find me in one of those two places. And on Twitter, same thing, nimplays. You know, you got it. It's in the
Good
chat
stuff.
and the commands. Yeah.
Go follow him. Pay compliments to his dog. By the way, I think Cole Taroth is back in Monster Hunter this week. The next couple of days.
Nope.
She gone already? Did it already happen, or did they lie to
No,
me?
she's there. I'm just not.
You gotta get your Gleamstone, man.
She won't give it to me.
You gotta believe. It's because you're a
Yeah,
non-believer.
I'm very upset
Dead
about that.
game.
Gotta believe.
Tried.
Nem, you're yelling.
Turning red in the face. Nim, I'm scared. Stop. But of course,
about it.
my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all the usual spots at The Black Link. Over the course of this week, we've got more Destiny 2 news coming out, some interviews, stuff, and this videos, the usual nonsense that you're subbed to the Planet Destiny YouTube channel and Twitch page for. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for episode 160 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another wonderful episode, and we hope to see you next week. Have yourselves a good one, and happy Father's Day to all the Guardians out there. Most of which,
Happy Father's Day.
my man Cade. Catch you all next week.